This is our place, come on in. Our place, so glad you're here. Our place, everybody's welcome. We see God on every face. Love lives here in this place. Welcome to our place, our sweet place. Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Karsh. I'm the music director here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Boulder Valley, and I'm stepping in today for our Reverend Jody because she's taking a well-deserved day off. Whether you are here for the very first time, or you've been a member of our wonderful, sweet community for years, we are so happy you're here with us. And I want to welcome you because today is really going to have a couple of awesome treats in it. Our speaker today is a friend of the center. We've all heard him before, and he's just wonderful. So we're all looking forward to that. And at the very end of our service, after the benediction, the closing song will be different. It's going to be a tribute to one of our own members. So please stay tuned for that because it's very special. I wrote it just for her. So it's a great day. Sit back, relax, take in the message, the music, the wonderful words of wisdom and prayers. And I'm going to send it off to Laura Brzezinski, who's our practitioner today.
Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Boulder Valley. My name is Laura Brzezinski, and I'm today's practitioner. I'd like to welcome you to our service and invite you, if you're comfortable, in closing your eyes as I start our service with this invocation. I take a breath, and I breathe in this moment. I breathe in love and peace and joy. I breathe in calm and compassion and openness. I breathe in and I breathe out love and joy and peace and compassion. For that is all there is. Love, divine love, emanating in, through, and as everything, everyone, in every moment. And so I feel that divine love for this message and this music and this gathering today. I feel and know a divine love permeating every being, participating, listening, being. And I am so grateful in this moment to feel that divine love empowering me, flowing out from me, and grateful for all of us being able to gather today in community and to listen to the message of Reverend Masando. Gratitude for the people that are sharing their music, sharing their gifts, sharing their light, and for those that are putting together the service and holding the space for higher consciousness, for a deeper understanding and a deeper connection with each and every one. And so I just release and let go, allowing this service to unfold beautifully with divine guidance, knowing that all is well and it is blessed. And so it is. We begin our service with our purpose, mission, and vision. Please join me in saying these together. Our purpose: celebrating divinity, embracing humanity, and creating community. Our mission: providing tools and support to awaken our community to its spiritual magnificence. And our vision: inspiring and uplifting every one of us to transform the world. I have here next to me, I'm sorry you can't see it fully, but know that it is here. It is a white candle representing the light that is in each and every one of us. And though you may not see it next to me, and though you and I may not see it within each other, it is within each other. It is within every being on this planet. I have some readings to share with you that will accompany our message today. The first one, very simply from John the Apostle. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God. Maya Angelou writes, love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leaps fences, penetrates walls to arrive at its destination full of hope. And my favorite quote, producer, Dr. Ernest Holmes, our founder, one who has learned to love all people will find plenty of people who will return that love. Our affirmation today, I am brave in seeking to understand what I cannot see in myself, and I am gentle with what I find. Each discovery is a recovery of my wholeness. Let's take a moment to close our eyes, turn inward, and just breathe this in. I am brave in seeking to understand what I cannot see in myself, and I am gentle with what I find. Each discovery is a recovery of my wholeness.
Hallelujah. We are one now. 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 So we sing hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Let's go within and pray. In this moment, there is only one all creative essence, one divine intelligence moving in, through, and as me, and in, through, and as every being on this planet. And that divine presence is co-creating within each of us our own lives, our own experiences, our own opportunities. That divine intelligence is supporting us in this message today, and it is supporting each one of us in our own experience of divine health, well-being, vitality, love, compassion, joy. And so I claim for each and every one listening that experience of love and light and kindness. I claim for each person the opening of love in your heart for someone that may be different from you, may think different from you, may think or may look differently from you. I am offering and holding in this space that there is so much more love for each one of us to give and to share. And that right now is the time to extend that love, to reach out to someone that you may not have in the past, to extend kindness to a stranger, to take the opportunity to just listen to what someone has to say before being so quick to judge or respond or offer a solution or a different perspective. I invite each and every one to be in this space of love and hold that container of love, and knowing that as we hold this container of love, we can allow our neighbor to be who they are. And as we demonstrate love, we are opening up the opportunity for others to step into their own divine love, to step into a greater expression of who they are, just by our demonstration. And so I just hold within myself, and I hold that picture for each one listening today of an expanded heart, expanded consciousness, expanded expression of love and kindness and compassion. And I am so grateful for this divine feeling welling up and bubbling out from me. I am so grateful for this divine love that spills out to my community, outside of my house, outside of this community. I am so grateful for each and every person and the opportunity that you have to share your gifts. And grateful for the message and the music today to uplift and encourage us to expand and to hold the space of being even greater love than we've ever known before. And so as we open our hearts and mind to listen to this message that Reverend Masando shares, I just trust and know and allow that it is speaking to each one of us in a magnificent way. It is the right message that each one needs to hear. And so I just release and let go, trusting and knowing that all is well. It is done. And so it is.
We're all in this together right now. Let's try and make it better for each other somehow. No one should go hungry. Everyone should feel loved. We're all in this together, every one of us. We're all in this together right now. Let's try and make it better somehow. No one should feel hungry, everyone should feel loved. We're all in this together, every one of us. Yes, we are. Me and you and me, me and you. That means the whole world too. Everyone should feel loved. No one should go hungry. We're all in this together. every one of us. We're all in this together. I have the distinct pleasure of getting to introduce Masando Hiraoka. I am so excited he's here. I love to hear him talk because he's part of our younger generation and the future of our world, really. So it's a gift to be able to experience how he sees the world. He's an outreach minister for Mile High Church. He's also a columnist for the Science of Mind magazine. He has a wonderful education about science of mind, and he's able to impart it to us and allow us to take it into our everyday lives. His message is so timely and so important for right now that I wrote a song to fit just exactly with his talk. So I hope you really enjoy what you're about to hear. I know you will, actually. And so here is Masando Hiraoka.
Hey friends, so good to be back with you today as we are feeling into and living into this most unprecedented moment in time and in history. And today I want to talk to you about loving our neighbors no matter what. I know that this could be a difficult thing sometimes because we may not like our neighbors, or we may be on the other side of the aisle politically from our neighbors, or our neighbors might make a lot of noise when we are trying to sleep. I read a Facebook post of someone's pet peeve of their neighbors mowing their lawn at 8 a.m. I live in a townhome, and I have been waking up every day at 7 a.m. when our neighbors have let their dog out and let it bark up a storm. It like sends this chain reaction of other dogs barking, including our own, which happens to be sleeping in our bed. But I realize, right, like I need this message right now in this heated and crazy election season with so much polarity happening. Like, I think we need to feel our connection to each other and to the whole of life so that, you know, like after this election, we can know how to work with each other. We can know how to love each other. We can figure out a way to find our way back to each other. But it's hard, right? Like, I definitely have some resistance come up when I think about loving my neighbors, when I think about connecting to those that are hard to connect with. Like, there are definitely some people in the world I would prefer not to love. Like, there are too many reasons to not want to be connected to everyone right now. I know I can sometimes neatly sort my world into people like I feel spiritually at one with folks that have the same thoughts, ideas, and worldviews as I do, and people I really don't, right? But I realize like there's something lost when I do this, some part of my spiritual life that is sacrificed. Sociologist, writer, and researcher Brene Brown, who I'm sure many of you know, talks about this phenomenon in her book, Braving the Wilderness, which actually came out like right around the last election. This is what she says. She says, when I look through the 200,000 plus pieces of data that my team and I have collected over the past 15 years, I can only conclude our world is in a collective spiritual crisis. This is especially true if you think about the core of that definition of spirituality from my last book, The Gifts of Imperfection. Spirituality is recognizing and celebrating that we are all inextricably connected to a power, to each other by a power greater than all of us, and that our connection to that power and to one another is grounded in love and compassion. She goes on to say, right now, we are neither recognizing nor celebrating our inextricable connection. We are divided from others in almost every area of our lives. We're not showing up with one another in a way that acknowledges our connection. Cynicism and distrust have stranglehold on our hearts. And rather than continuing to move toward a vision of shared power among people, we're witnessing a backslide to a vision of power that is the key to an autocrat's power over people. Addressing this crisis will require a tremendous amount of courage. For the moment, most of us are either making the choice to protect ourselves from conflict, discomfort, and vulnerability by staying quiet or picking sides, and in the process, slowly and paradoxically adopting the behavior of the people we're fighting. Either way, the choices we're making to protect our beliefs and ourselves are leaving us disconnected, afraid, and lonely. Very few people are working on connection outside the lines drawn by their side. Finding love and true belonging in our shared humanity is going to take tremendous resolution. Ugh. I know that was a little bit of a longer reading, but I just find Brene Brown's words to be so poignant there. Finding love and true belonging in our shared humanity. This is how Brene Brown defines spirituality, and it's a definition I think we all resonate with, recognizing that we are all inextricably connected to each other by a power greater than all of us, like whatever we want to call that power, spirit, God, the universe, la force, life itself. And that connection to this power and to each other is grounded in love and compassion, right? That's spirituality. And I find this to be both beautifully inspiring and totally confronting. It's revealing to discover all of the ways I can justify the disconnection I feel, of the ways I witness in myself and others this same tendency of even taking delight in the misfortune of those who may have wounded me or done harm to another, how I yearn for justice in a way that is more like punishment or karmic retribution than real justice and change. It's too easy. It's far too easy these days, which is why I think resistance to an idea that we're all inextricably connected, that we all are really bound to love each other, to love our neighbor, comes up so quickly. And honestly, I have felt this connection and all of the emotions that drive it, like anger, fear, resentment, hopelessness, cynicism. I felt it a lot more in the past year. I've actually been noticing that I'm both addicted to and totally turned off by social media these days, because so many of these interactions rile this up in me. I too easily can get caught up in them. It disturbs me how reactive I can become, how quickly things become politicized, how this global pandemic has not brought us together, but how politically driven narratives that have us driven more apart, how the movement for Black lives, our current day civil rights movement, has been misunderstood and therefore politicized, how easily we can fall into this feeling that half the country is my friend and the other is my enemy. It throws me into disconnection and it causes me to pause, especially when I think about that definition of spirituality that Brene Brown talks about. If spirituality is rooted in our love and compassion for one another, if spirituality is rooted in our inextricable connection, if somehow my connection to a power greater than all of us is rooted in that love and compassion and rooted in my inextricable connection to everyone and everything, I realize there's actually a lot more at stake. When I'm feeling disconnected, when I'm sorting my world into friend and foe, when I see enemies all around, it makes me ponder. If I am disconnecting myself from you, if I'm disconnecting myself from my neighbor, what is the cost? And if I somehow seek to sever in my consciousness this inextricable connection, this love that I know I'm part of holding as a human being, as a spiritual human being, am I also in my consciousness breaking my connection to the divine? It's a question I've been wrestling a lot with recently, and it's been making me think about a talk that I saw at the Parliament of World Religions in Toronto a couple of years ago. The speaker, Shakil Chowdhury, author of the book Deep Diversity, he was sharing his research that he did with some neuroscientists around why equity work is so necessary and also why it's so difficult. There are some studies and findings that he shared that I'll never forget. He talked about how our brain is a sorting machine, that we develop this keen sense of in-groups and out-groups as we were evolving, so as to know who was safe and who was part of our village and family and who was not, right? And this evolutionary trait has stayed with us after all these years, this tendency to sort into in-group and out-group. But here's the most important piece of information I want to share. When they looked at people's brains and they had them think about someone from their in-group, the same part of their brain lit up that lights up when we think about ourselves, right? So literally empathy is happening automatically in our brain with folks that we've put into our inner circle. People in this inner group are operating in the part of our brain that allows for complexity, that sees people as unique and takes interest in them in real ways. And conversely, right, when they had folks think about someone in their out group, and whatever line in the sand that they had drawn, the part of their brain lit up that is the same part of the brain that lights up when we think about a subject or an object, right? So literally, our brain is objectifying our enemies. That's those who somehow have been othered, or perhaps who have even othered us. Like, our brain is literally turning them into an object. They are dehumanizing these folks and turns them into a thing, right? What's more, like, when we tend to look at these folks like not as unique, we tend to look at them not as complex individuals, but we see those folks in our group through stereotypes, seeing them all as like a monolith of these stereotypes and biases, not people, like just caricatures, not human beings, but objects, things that can be discarded, things that can be destroyed without remorse. Chowdhury theorizes that this may be the reason why we are able to do such horrendous things to each other. Because when we have created an other, when we have bought into disconnection, when we have forgotten how inextricable that connection really is, like, we have turned a person that is imbued with the divine, that is the emanation of the living spirit itself, like, into a thing. Like, when I look at loving our neighbor, when I look at inextricable connection through this lens, the stakes indeed do seem high. Just last week, someone was shot and killed here in Denver at a protest and counter-protest rally. It has been horrific to witness the continual epidemic of police brutality in our country and all of the ways in which basic human rights have to vigilantly and tirelessly be fought for still here in 2020. Like, it's disheartening to witness the ways in which I've seen members of our own community say things to each other online that they would never say in person, and how I find in my own heart like a hard and cold crust beginning to form around it when I focus my anger on the people who I disagree with politicians I loathe, with Facebook friends that refuse to wear a mask or spread misinformation or conspiracy theories. I feel it. Like, it's so real and so easy to justify. And yet right now I'm asking myself, at what cost is this disconnection? And how can I restore by inextricable disconnection? I realize, like, how often I can find myself, knowingly or unknowingly, like, dehumanizing a person. It happens much more than I'd like to admit. And and God, right? Like, these days it's hard not to engage in this kind of thing, like, every single day, especially if you're on social media. Like, these kinds of thoughts can happen every single day of my life. And yet when I check in with myself, with that living spirit within, I begin to realize that something is lost, like something really is sacrificed when I'm dehumanizing another. And it's easy to rationalize. It's like, uh, it's easy to get people in our court even to justify our behavior. It's like, hey, you get it right. Like, back me up here. This person is out of their mind. Right? The answer to all our problems would just be so easily manifest if these people would just go away. And it reminds me of another section from Brene Brown's Braving the Wilderness. In one page, right? In one page of her book, she calls all of us out. Like, she calls all of us out with some very specific examples of how we can so easily fall into the same behavior as those we would oppose or criticize, right? How we can dehumanize so easily and fall into this kind of hypocritical behavior. Like, listen, it's not super fun to hear. But I find that every time I read it, I feel the truth of what she's saying, like it sinks in a little bit more. It makes me pause in this really powerful way. So this was written again like 4 years ago, right before the last election, or right around the last election. Here's what she has to say. This is Brene Brown. She says, here's what I believe. If you are offended or hurt when you hear Hillary Clinton or Maxine Walters called horrible names, I won't even repeat the names that she uses, you should equally be offended when you hear those same words used to describe Ivanka Trump, Kellyanne Conway, or Theresa May. If you felt belittled when Hillary Clinton called Trump supporters a basket of deplorables, then you should have felt equally concerned when Eric Trump said Democrats aren't even human. When the President of the United States calls women dogs or talks openly about assault, we should get chills down our spine and resistance flowing through our veins. And when people call the President of the United States a pig, we should reject that language regardless of our politics and demand discourse that doesn't make people subhuman. When we hear people referred to as animals or aliens, we should immediately wonder, is this an attempt to reduce someone's humanity so we can get away with hurting them or denying basic human rights? And if you're offended by a meme of Trump photoshopped to look like Hitler, then you shouldn't have Obama photoshopped to look like the Joker on your Facebook feed. She goes on to say, there is a line. It's etched from dignity, and raging, fearful people from the right and left are crossing it at unprecedented rates every single day. We must never tolerate dehumanization, the primary instrument of violence that has been used in every genocide recorded throughout history. When we engage in dehumanizing rhetoric or promote dehumanizing images, we diminish our own humanity in the process. Dehumanizing and holding people accountable are mutually exclusive. Humiliation and dehumanizing are not accountability tools. They're emotional offloading at best, emotional self-indulgence at worst. And if our faith asks us to find the face of God in everyone we meet, that should include the politicians, media, and strangers on Twitter with whom we most violently disagree. When we desecrate their divinity, we desecrate our own, and we betray our faith. Challenging ourselves to live by higher standards requires constant diligence and awareness. We're so saturated by these words and images, we're close to normalizing moral exceptions. In addition to diligence and awareness, we need courage, right? So it seems we are being called into this challenge right now, especially those of us who aspire to live a truly spiritual life, right? Like we who are committed to that in the world right now. Communities like CSL that help to foster our spiritual identities and doing so in a way that asks us not to turn away from the world and all of its challenges, but to meet it, right? Like to meet it with courage, with accountability, with grace, with a deeper kind of faith. Like this fostering is so deeply important, like now more than ever. I mean, it's always been important. Like there's never been a time in which the connection to the universe and life and each other and God, right? When love for one another, like that hasn't been important. Like it's always helped us humans navigate the challenges of this human life. But we are reinventing it right now. Like we are revolutionizing it right now. And as spirituality grows and shifts to meet the needs of the culture of this time, so too will we continue to grow and meet the needs of this time. So how can we rehumanize each other, right? I think we are actually uniquely poised to do this. We all have this great gift in CSL, like seeing the world through a lens of consciousness. Like I can speak out against a consciousness that is filled with hatred and bigotry and still have love and compassion for the person who has to carry that burden of hate and fear in their hearts. We can speak out against and hold our nation's leaders accountable and still hold a firm stance on not belittling or dehumanizing or calling them names, right? Like I can speak to the consciousness. I can speak to even the behavior, to the words and to the actions, and still hold all as inextricably connected to the divine, and like through that to myself as well. Like I have to realize that this inextricable connection that is rooted in love and compassion Like, that's part of my divine nature. It's part of our divine nature. It's part of our birthright. And it's something that we've been given, but it's also something that we have been called to uphold, right? I've been loving seeing the phrases on the back of some NFL helmets. I'm like a sports nut. So I've been loving all the sports that are going on. Go Broncos. Tried and true, regardless of their record. But I love this phrase that I've been seeing on some back of helmets that says, "It takes all of us," right? Like, it's true. Those who stand for a better world, for a world that truly works for everyone, a world that is designed for everyone, a world that is more imbued with the value of human dignity, a world that puts love at the center and community at the circumference, holding us all. A world that is brave enough to dismantle the systems rooted in racism and replaces them, right? Rebirths them with systems of equity, with the world that celebrates all of us, a world that sees you, that sees me, that celebrates joyfully to see such beauty. Like, that kind of world takes all of us. Because it's through this, right? It's through this we realize we've been destined to love one another in this way, because we're woven together. Like, it's part of the very fabric of our being. And knowing this, right, I think knowing how connected we are, knowing how woven together we are, knowing that it is not only our birthright, but part of our duty to continually like be a place of love and compassion in the world, but especially in the places that we really resist. Like, that is a part of who we are. That's a part of, I think, what we're all being called to continually co-create. So I want to close today with a prayer and a reading by Kathleen McTeague. This is an interfaith prayer called "We Are Woven Together." She says this. She says, "We gather today as a diverse body of people from many faiths and traditions. Do not speak the same language of worship. We follow different teachings made known to us by sacred voices and scriptures through the ages. We do not utter the same prayers, nor do we even use the same word, if any word at all, to speak the name of God. Nevertheless, we gather together in worship, and in our gathering, we honor and celebrate our diversity. We do not seek a unity that would deny our differences. We seek rather a deeper union. A union woven through choice and intent, through time and attention, through respect and compassion, until we recognize that we have become a whole cloth, a cloth made rich and textured and vibrant through our differences. Each of us can hear, in the beating of our own hearts, the ancient rhythm of the loom at work. We are woven together. We are bound to one another. We belong to and with each other. Let us worship together." And our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, says, "I believe in the brotherhood of humanity, the parenthood of God, and a unity binding all together in one perfect whole. I believe the Spirit is in the wind and wave and manifests itself throughout all nature, but most completely through our own minds and in our own hearts. It proclaims our livingness and its lovingness." So let's just connect with that space as we go forth from this time together. As we learn that our own freedom is all bound up in the freedom of all, that we are so deeply, inextricably connected, that our love and compassion calls us to connect with this thing that's so deeply held sacred within, that we seek to find our way back to each other, that we build bridges towards understanding, towards mutual respect, to a way in which we come out of any election still whole. That we learn to love those who we most vehemently disagree with, that we, in the process, learn a deeper love for the divine and a deeper love for ourselves. And so I just know, as we navigate these last couple weeks of this election, that we hold in our hearts a deep commitment to rehumanizing those that we have dehumanized, that we keep in our hearts a practice of love and compassion, and that we hold the high watch for all of those who are experiencing this tear within themselves, this division that is so deeply present, that we hold the high watch for a world in which we don't have to agree on everything, that we hold love at the center and community at the circumference, for we are all part of this unbroken circle of the divine. So with that, I just give great thanks for all of the ways in which this love and compassion shows up for us. I give thanks for each person that is listening and tuning in. I give thanks for our spiritual communities. I give thanks for this thing called life, knowing we are the right people at the right time to give birth to the new vision that is coming into the world. And so with that, we just let it be, and we let it be so. And so it is. Thanks so much, y'all. We'll see you again soon.
If you want peace, let it start with you. If you want joy, the same thing's true. If you want love, it's up to me and you. Then I know we're gonna find peace in our lifetime. In a kinder world, we're gonna find a world where we can live together peacefully. Right now we're a worried country, a hurting country, and it's hard for us to find harmony. Look all around at a country in need. Look in the mirror, be the change you want to see. So if you want peace, let it start with you. If you want joy, the same thing's true. If you want love, let it start with me and you. Then I know we're gonna we'll find peace in our lifetime. When we're connected heart to heart, yeah, differences won't keep us apart. Not even when we disagree. We've got to take a stand, come together hand to hand, and recognize individual humanity. Look all around, see a country in need. Look in the mirror, be the change you want to see. So if you want peace, let it start with you. If you want joy, the same thing's true. If you want love, it's up to me and you. Then I know we're gonna find peace in our lifetimes. For the sake of our country, we've just gotta find a way. starting right now and starting today. So if you want peace, let it start with you. If you want joy, the same thing's true. If you want love, it's up to me and you. Then we'll find peace. Then we'll find love, peace and joy and love in our lifetime. Now's the time in our service when we are going to bless the gifts of offering that we give. And I invite you to go to our website and explore all the different ways that you're able to give. I love what Jody says. She says, we are all blessed, the givers and the receivers. And I absolutely love that. So whether you have a gift that is a physical check, or you're giving the gift of energy today, I'd like you to bring that gift to your heart, and we're going to say our offering blessing together. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive, and so it is. Now I'm able to do one of my most favorite things, which is to say thank you. First to Masando, you were absolutely wonderful. I hope you will come back very soon. We enjoy having you to the max. You bring us so much wonderful information and excitement about living and all of those things that are very important to all of us. A very special thank you to Laura Brzezinski for all of her practitioner work today, for everybody who worked on the service this week and all the time. Thank you very much. Especially to Ethan Fang, who works very hard for all of us for the service and putting it all together. It makes it happen. Thank you to those who create workshops and classes online and for all of us who get to participate in those. It's a gift we really receive with such gratitude. I do have one announcement. Reverend Jody has created a service that will happen the night before election night at 7 o'clock on Zoom. It's all about the soul of America, celebrating the soul of America. It's going to have lots of wonderful words of wisdom and prayer, and there's bunches of music. It's great. So I hope you will come and join us for that very, very special happening. And now I'm going to hand it on back to Laura Brzezinski for one more reminder.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today and sharing your light and your love, and for all that you are going to take with you as you go out in the world today. Just wanted to invite you, if you would like to stay for a prayer after, we have breakout rooms, and our practitioners are available to pray with you throughout the week. Our practitioner information is on the website at cslbouldervalley.org, and just reach out anytime.
So we're coming to the close of our service. We're going to be saying our benediction together, but remember, don't leave or anything, because after the benediction will be the closing song, which is a tribute to Catherine Snyder, who's retired from the board. I wrote it to say thank you and to tell her how much we all appreciate her service and all she's done and still doing for our center, as well as I appreciate all of you for your support, because you help us keep going and growing and thriving. So, have a great week. Stay safe, everybody. Remember, love lives here. So goodbye until next time. God bless, and so it is.
Please join me in saying our benediction together. I now walk
so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God. I now listen so that whoever speaks with me knows that I hear the voice of God. Whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness. For Spirit and I are one eternally, and so it is.
Catherine, this is a very special song for you. Even though I know you don't like a lot of bravado, you deserve every bit of every good word that comes your way. Catherine, we're here to celebrate and appreciate you for all you've done, all you continue to do. Yes, it's true. Catherine, I'm not sure that thank you's enough to tell you how much we care and love you. We believe in love. Love is not a cliche. We believe in love 'cause we know inside love is gonna save the day. Love is the answer, helps us find our way. We all believe in love. We believe in love. We want to say thank you for your time and your talent and helping us through facing challenges as we all have to. You know we're gonna miss you, miss the gift that you are. We're glad you're gonna be around like a shining star. We all believe in love. Love saves the day. And together we're gonna know, we're gonna find a way. And you helped us all in so many ways, 'cause you believe in love. I know you do. And you believe in love. And you believe in love. I know that you do. Love is your truth. You believe in love. And Catherine, we just want to say thank you.
Original music written and performed by Karen Karsh. Copyright held by Karen Karsh Crystal Music. All rights reserved.
Love